Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. How about a $13 XRP? How about the biggest alt season that we've ever seen in crypto history? How about you roll that beautiful intro?
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $2.34 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off by 0.8%. Bitcoin, 63,800 plus. Ethereum, 2,600 plus. Tether is 119 billion plus market cap. USDC at the 6th spot is 36 billion plus. XRP number 7 spot, 59 cents. We're up 1.1 on the 24. We're up 4.1 on the 7-day. Range of price very quickly between 59 cents. We'll keep an eye on it as we move throughout the day. I want to let all of you know that iTrust Capital has the new custodian, Fortis, and Fortress, the old custodian, was charging all of us customers a $125 fee. iTrust said, don't worry about it. We're going to cover it. And you know what? The change has happened. Your assets are safe, and iTrust Capital remains the best crypto, gold, silver IRA on the planet. There was never a question. Let's just understand that. And let me let you know something. You know, it's not that they're just the best. There's a reason why they're the best. They're the best because they empower you by giving you a back office where you can actually manage your assets in a tax-free portfolio. This is remarkable. Don't mess around. Click the link to my sponsor below and get started. And I don't mind telling you that they have a link right now that you can get on their website, and you can sign up for the VIP experience at USC Stadium, all expenses paid, Uber, food, lodging. I tell you, you can't beat it. I got to do it last year. I hope I get to do it again this year. But let me tell you something. Don't mess around. Go sign up for that and go get your IRA account because they are the best in the business, and you will find out immediately why. SEC chair explains when a tokenized asset becomes a security. Oh boy, take a listen to this. Yesterday was not good for old Chair
Gensler, we continue to hear about the benefits of tokenization and have seen large asset managers like Franklin Templeton use blockchain to digitize their assets. The SEC has approved several of these products. Do you see any evidence that the savings realized by the asset issuers is being passed on to the consumer?
I'm not familiar enough with any one of the projects, but regardless of where somebody stores their ledger, if they tokenize security, an equity, a bond, or an investment contract, it's important to make sure that the investors and the investing public have the disclosures they need. But just putting something on a tokenization, you know, on a blockchain ledger, doesn't change the economics. It's whether it's a good investment, and we stay merit neutral on that.
I yield back.
He stays merit neutral on that. Listen to this. If you didn't see the video from this morning, I have to show this again because this is so amazing that SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce is absolutely flat out calling out Gary Gensler's lack of leadership by admitting this right here.
I think what's happening is that we're trying to be ambiguous because the legal precision carries with it real implications. And this is why people have been coming to us and saying we need clarity. Is the token itself a security, or is it part of an investment contract? Is it being sold together with an investment contract? If it is, what is that investment contract, and how long does it track along with the token? By using imprecise language, we've been able to sort of suggest that the token itself is a security apart from that investment contract, which has implications for secondary sales. It has implications for who can list it. And I think this is absolutely we've fallen down on our duty as a regulator not to be precise. And so tucking into a footnote that, yes, we admit that now actually the token itself is not a security, that's something that we should have admitted long ago and then started wrestling with the difficult questions.
Right. So
Something we should have admitted long ago and started wrestling with the questions and doing the real work of leadership, right? Providing guidance. Oh boy. Well, that brings us to this. Now, you guys are aware of this, but stay with me because there's a reason we're bringing this up today. And you need to know it. Because this is the strongest signal that shows you that it is coming to the United States, regardless of what they're posturing. Now, we know that Gary Gensler created the SAB 121 rule, and he did that so he could prevent banks from acting as custodians for crypto. This harms the industry greatly because they need banking, and they can't get it, right? And this was the plea in the letter from, senators and Republicans alike saying, hey, Gary Gensler, please take down the illegal rule that you put in place, SAB 121, so banks can start custodying crypto for the crypto industry. That's why Silvergate went down, right? Silicon Valley Bank, all that, because of this happening, right? But of course, as Caitlin Long rightfully points out, while the Fed screams about systemic risk of digital assets, it lets a systemically important bank get into the business of custodying assets. You literally can't make this up. It's how the U.S. system works, folks. Remember when Gary Gensler knew what the score was when he was teaching at MIT and he talked about the legacy financial institutions being central monopolists and that you will have to give up some of your control of your company or token? Remember that? Looks like one of those central monopolists was allowed to custody assets known as BNY Mellon.
Central monopolist with another central monopolist. A lot of commercial banks aren't terribly excited about that. Maybe you're going to have to give some ownership. Maybe you'll have to give 50% of your ownership to the 20 banks that are now, part of this. I mean, there are other ways to build incentive systems. Maybe you put a native token in there and you give them the native token.
Hello, XRP escrow, right? But BNY Mellon has deep ties and relationships with Ripple for years in many different efforts. Here's more on the BNY Ripple partner bank and custody of assets from BlackRock's ETFs. Honestly, today, all banks should be able to accept crypto deposits, but because of Biden-Harris SEC, this has been stopped out. That's exactly right, allowing the central monopolists to get their positions while squashing the crypto industry. They can come in and scoop up what they want, pennies on the dollar.
Mellon is moving closer to rolling out custody service for the Bitcoin and Ether held by ETF clients. This is after a review enabled the company to avoid treating the assets as a balance sheet liability.
While everyone else has to do it according to the SAB 121 rule that Gary Gensler put in place because he knows he's serving the central monopolist and not investor protection. You want to know about that connection? Mellon banking heir, new crypto fortune all the way back to 2018. Matthew Mellon's passed away, God rest his soul, and it was a troubled soul with that. But it just goes to show you right here, almost $1 billion in Ripple's XRP back in 2018. There's your connection. Don't tell me they didn't know. So for anyone confused here as to how the Fed screams systemic risk and yet allows a systemically important bank like BNY Mellon, the largest custodian for the planet, it's spot on. This is where Gensler calls this the central monopolist, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we're dealing with here. James Wallace.
Others was like the rise of other CBDCs. So I do work in the US. We work with the Fed, and we work. I do work in the US. We work with the Fed.
Any questions? That's James Wallace from Ripple, head of central bank engagement with the XRP ledger. Now, let's pull back from that infrastructure, what's taking place while we're hearing that it's never going to happen. All right, let's pull back from that and just look at the charts for a second. Stay with me. You'll see where I'm going. I'm going to land the plane. Eggrab Crypto puts this chart out, which is amazing. Look back in 2020, China and the USA cut rates, and this is what happened to Bitcoin. They cut rates right here, and then we had a dip down, and then we saw the market go berserk. We're here today. This is where they cut rates. We've seen it dive down. We're trying to get it to where we can go do what it did in 2020. So that's where we are on the macro with Bitcoin. You know, I see why I say it's so bullish. You now know why I'm saying I'm so bullish, and I totally get it. And then there's this. Remember this. We all need plenty of cash for day-to-day living. However, the wealthiest people in the world understand that buying assets like gold and crypto can help to counter inflationary times. In other words, the US dollar is going to poop. Then this. BlackRock and Fidelity spot Bitcoin ETFs did a combined $869 billion plus in trading volume yesterday. Just yesterday. Now, why am I showing you all of this? Because this time is going to be different. This time it's going to involve the Fed, the Treasury. This time it's going to involve the financial system. This time, it's going to involve the BNY Mellons of the world. That's why this time's going to be different. Listen to Sergey Navrov from Chainlink. He's going to tell you why.
This once again contributes to the new direction of our industry, which is not just about more cryptocurrencies, more meme coins, more artificial yield, cycling and recycling all of these things. It's actually about net new value coming in from the traditional market and coming in not in the hundreds of billions, but in the trillions. That's the next kind of stage of our industry as a whole.
Yes, it is. And while he's talking to you, Swift is on the diagram behind him, why I keep circling it. Keep listening.
And personally, I believe that the real-world asset trend and the real-world asset category will relatively soon in the next few years overcome the total value of cryptocurrencies. And then our industry, by definition, by the numbers, will not be about cryptocurrencies. It'll be about blockchain technology enabling things like real-world assets. And that's what the blockchain industry will be.
And he is absolutely right. And that's why I believe this time will be different. Looking at this chart here, it says the biggest alt season will start October 1st. Remember 2017 and 2021. Back then, my portfolio skyrocketed from $1,000 to $387,000. And now it's happening again. He said, I scanned 300 low caps. Here are the top ones with the 100x potential. And he's looking at a MAC chart here. And basically, this is what you're seeing with the Bitcoin chart and where we are now and where we would go with the history following out the way it is. And that would put us over 100,000, probably 150, 130, 150, somewhere in there. So that's where you're seeing the macro here calling for the largest. And then obviously he's got, charts where he's looking at other things there too. And shout out to him for all this info. But what I want to come back to is the alt season, the biggest alt season in October. And I believe whenever it starts, and I don't know if it's October or not, but what I do know is that when the alt season starts, certainly for XRP, I believe it will absolutely be different. And I believe $13 is a great place to start. As Ed Greg Crypto says, XRP will do it, and I believe him. That's not financial advice from me, him, or anyone else. But this time, it's going to be different because it's going to involve the BNY Mellons of the world and FedNow and every other large institution to go along with it. And I can't wait because $13 is just a start. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.